So do you all have questions or things you'd like to ask us? You can tell we love music and we can go on and on and on, but we'd love to hear from you too.
I have two quick questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I'll ask one. But what would you say is the main, and this may be intellectual, I don't know, but what would you say is the main difference between the chants and the music? Because certainly we have had beautiful experience with both of them, but could you elaborate a little bit on that?
So the chants kind of can follow you anywhere. I mean, the music can too, but the chanting, you know, when Yogananda says chanting is half the battle, it's because chanting can take you to God and sort of give you that, take you into, you know, prepare you so well for meditation that you're already meditating by the time you finish the end of the chant. You know, it's like chanting can become such a pranayam that you're already in the state of pranayam, and then you begin your kriyas, or then you begin whatever you're going to do in your meditation, and you just launch. That is chanting is half the battle. The songs, Swamiji's music, songs of divine joy especially, but all of his music, to me is operating in a similar way, but it has a different purpose, and that purpose is to show us how to live our lives. So it's like the chanting takes us to God, but it doesn't necessarily translate. And so you think of great sadhus down through the ages who have sung to God. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, but they don't necessarily relate to people. You know, you think of those of you who met Swamiji, who got to spend time with him, think of how he would take questions at the end of a satsang, or how he would interact with people over tea or whatever. Very human, very engaged, very approachable, and not at all kind of mysterious and removed and kind of inscrutable or something. You know, he just would ask you, talk to you, work with you. And that to me is what the music expresses and helps us to do and live.
Swami would call his music the 4-part harmony songs that we sing, including the oratorio. He called that whole body of music philosophy and song. So, for example, in 1979, he led a nationwide tour through America and up into Canada, and I don't remember how many cities we visited, but he would give a free lecture on a Friday night and then a meditation workshop on Saturday. And we were there as a little singing group to sing a couple of songs at the beginning and one song at the end of these programs. And actually, as an aside, Swami would joke throughout the tour that we would sing for 5 minutes at the beginning, maybe 5 minutes at the beginning and the end altogether, 5 minutes, and he would talk for an hour and a half. And then at the end of the program on a Friday night, he would stand at the door and shake everyone's hand and, you know, greet people. And he said, this was the joke part, he said, inevitably people would say to me, after I had talked for an hour and a half, "Oh, the music was wonderful." It's like, but he was making a point, as he was joking, that the music gets into people's consciousness in a very friendly, open, easy, receptive way. they aren't thinking, they aren't intellectualizing about the philosophy that he was presenting. They weren't questioning as he's talking. They weren't, mulling over or thinking, getting distracted about something else. They were just relaxed and open, and the music came into them. And that's why it's philosophy in song. He's talking about all the lofty truths of this path that he gleaned from his guru, that he's passing on to us. But it's in a very easy to assimilate way. And so the music is our philosophy. It is the teachings. Chanting is devotion. Chanting is pranayam that's leading us to a meditative state. And so they are a little different, but the end result is pretty much the same. A receptivity to truth and a calmness and peace that leads to meditation.
I think that sums it up wonderfully. Thank you. If I just ask one last thing and then everybody can ask, but do you think is it like a prerequisite, like the music, in order to be in this particular path, or is it something that comes naturally to people if they grow in attunement? And what about if one is not musically inclined necessarily?
If you're not musically inclined, you can still wear earbuds and you can still listen.
You can, and if you were deaf altogether, you could put the music on your phone and play it right into your bones, right into your heart, and you would get it that way.
You could still feel it.
You could still feel it on some level. People have different taste. I mean, there's no accounting for taste in one way. And so some people, I can remember over the years many times, in fact, the man who directed the oratorio the first time himself was a accomplished musician of some sort. I don't remember how exactly, but George McClure.
Yeah.
So people who've made a profession of music, for them, Swamiji's music is often, it seems kind of simple, because he doesn't, he's not trying to wow people at Carnegie Hall in New York City in front of thousands of people at the complexity, that's ego. That's the performer wanting to show how great they are. No, Swami's music isn't for that. But David Eby, who himself is a professional cellist, said that's how he first thought of Swamiji's music, and then he started playing it. And it was like, it changed his consciousness. He had to stop the car he was driving and pull over so that he could adjust to the fact that his consciousness just got changed. And so it's not a prerequisite. There's very little on our path that says you have to do this or that. It's more like, we put our altar in the east and we look, there's just things that you do because they work. You sit on wool, or you try to work with the elements the way they operate in your life. And so you can think of the music as that also, that it's just a big, big help. If you try to remake the path in your own image, then you end up with your own image, unfortunately. And that's, that, anyway.
I remember many, many years ago, I really was into Celtic music. I loved the Irish female singers that had a range of just octaves and octaves. They could sing really, really high and really low, and it was just thrilling to me to listen to them. And there was one in particular that I just adored. And hearing Swami say that it's important to focus on our music and not get real eclectic about it, it was like, oh, I can't give up this singer, she's just so amazing. And then I started noticing what my consciousness did in reaction to listening to her. And after a while, I had to give it up because I realized that when I listened to her, I became more emotional.